required.
It's time for Life Advice, brought to you by V8. 30 calories sounds like a bite, a handful, or maybe even a spoonful. That definitely couldn't fill you up, but one 5.5-ounce can of V8 Original is surprisingly filling and only 30 calories. Your snack should give your body the nutrients it needs without piling on a lot of unwanted extra calories. What's up? It's Life Advice, lifeadvicerr@gmail.com. Taping here on a Friday. So, Kyle, have you ever said I'm working for the weekend?
I think absolutely. Yeah. You know, it was definitely when I was working grounds crew. I was like the median age of the five guys was like 48. Totally. I started to feel old myself. I kind of liked it.
Rudy, you've never said that, right?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I feel like I've worked a lot of weekends, so it doesn't even matter.
No, but there's a code amongst the laborers, right? Physical laborer guys. I think, I'm sure there's some cubicle guys out there too who's saying that, but somebody who earnestly says, like, I'm working for the weekend, man. I just think that guy's a straight shooter. And it just reminds me of the old sheetrocking crews that used to talk about sex over meatball subs at lunch break on the job site, hoping that the homeowner didn't hear a sheetrocker talking about somebody he had sex with the night before, which was always an incredibly awkward thing because it happened a lot, actually. The homeowners at the other side, you're working on an addition and some guy's reenacting a thing over meatball subs. And you're like, all right. And I remember just being young, being like, all right, this is weird. What's going on? And then I'd be a little bit older. They'd want me to I'd be like, hey guys, we're not, it's not really my deal. Like, congrats to you. Congrats on your week. But, there's this woman in there washing dishes right now who owns the house. So we could tone it down in the positional reenactment. All right, so that got weird at the beginning, but it just made me think about the weekend thing. All right, here's another little tidbit. The amount of feedback. This is a top 5 email, the dog sitting dinner bill. Incredible feedback here. People on both sides. And that's kind of what I thought when I read the email was that these were cultures colliding. And the email response to it is exactly what I'd expect. Because some people think the couple that ordered apps, ordered all this stuff, were excessive and that somebody should have done something, which, again, everybody else is like the toughest person ever after the fact. They're like, I would have told them. And there was just more philosophical stuff being like, you just don't do that to somebody, especially you don't really know, whatever. And then there was a lot of people being like, are you kidding? So the whole tab was $400, which meant you ate, maybe 100, 150 of it if they went overboard. So that means it cost you, let's say, $250 to cover them when you thought it was only going to be maybe at most $75, because all the place you were suggesting, clearly you said dive bar, drink specials, pizza, whole deal. How much was the dog boarding going to cost you? We researched this, right, guys? I think, is it fair to say in a decent city, suburban area, for a weekend in the dog, is it $200? I mean, could you find it for $150? Okay, maybe. So you thought, hey, cool, I don't have to pay this, and now I'm in the black. And then you take them out to dinner, and now you're like, oh, I'm in the red, like $80. So I'm sure the emailer isn't even like listening to all this stuff because you were so convinced your way is the right way financially. And I'm not even telling you that you're necessarily wrong. I'm just saying perhaps I'm different. Others were different. And here's the deal. Like, it was cultures colliding. So what was the research? What did the research tell us, Kyle?
Well, the one thing that I don't really know how to respond to what was the research, but what I would say is when that guy, I was thinking back, when that guy opened his wallet and she opened her wallet and then she kind of got gun shy at the bar. This is before the restaurant, because you could have saved herself $150 right there. If when she started to put her, she got a little gun shy, as he said, like she kind of did the performative opening the wallet and then close it back up. He could, when he noticed that, he could have been like, well, I'll get the dinner. You want to get the drinks? Like, he could have said that, and that's not weird. And then you wouldn't feel weird about
Yep.
scoping out everything they ordered.
Right.
So he could have saved himself $150, so we probably wouldn't be talking about it.
I meant the research on the dog boarding. Didn't we do some of that?
Oh yeah. Sorry. $75 is what I saw in LA. $75 a night.
A night.
And then if you want a lunch meal, it's another $6. If If you want your dog to have lunch, there's a whole bunch of other things you can do. But if we're talking bare bones, yeah, 75.
You got to bring your own lunch. Come on, that's a veteran move to bring your own lunch. Don't let them pay for your dog's lunch. But I also think, depending on the area, it could be like $35. So do we know where they were?
I don't feel like going back and finding the email.
$50 is in the middle. We'll say $50.
$50. So maybe it's
a night.
150 to 200. But that math didn't seem to matter because he was already thinking, hey, I got that part for free. And so, whatever, like here's the dinner. Like the dinner now makes it's not free. Look, I'm just telling you, it was worlds colliding. I don't want to really get really pissy about it one way or the other because I don't really feel that way about it. But here's the one, like we got a bunch of responses from it, right? And then the whole thing about appetizers came up. Like people have different rules about appetizers. I imagine there are some families, like I didn't know what the hell appetizers even were, I think, until I was like in high school. Not because like we were so broke, but I don't know. He never ordered them. It wasn't our deal as a family. Although I don't know, we had a ton of sit down dinners with all of us together anyway. But the whole like rules with the apps, that like at the pizza place, what were they? Fried mozzarella? Like even at a really nice restaurant, you go with some carpaccio or some melon and prosciutto, like it's not the end of the world. Like people are talking about apps, not all people, but some people are talking about apps. Like it's this restaurant and they're like, hey, Bezos is here. Show him the apps. Hey, did you see who's sitting there? Make sure he knows we have appetizers. I think appetizers for most people are doable. So, all right, there we go. There was a lot of response to that one. Okay, 6'4", 225. We'll leave the name out of this. That has been an issue again. Apologies. My birthday's coming up and a few packages arrived at the house. My partner will smile and put them in a room. She's very excited about what she has for me, and I get it. I'm lucky she cares this much. You are. Must be nice you get so many presents from a girlfriend. But I see where they're from, and it's not places I'm into. I usually suggest we just gift each other experiences, weekend getaways, nice dinners with appetizers. We've been together 3 years, and it's always like this. She's asked me, and I've told her places I like, but it never seems to take. I assume I should just smile and appreciate the gifts, but they all sit in a closet box, and I feel like this year may be the same. Is there a nice, acceptable way to tell someone you feel that they are not great gifts and kind of just a waste of money?
No.
I have some firsthand experience with this because my mother, on Christmas, and this is going to make me sound so shitty, but I'm just going to do it anyway. She buys stuff that she likes. All right? She just does. She does. And one of her favorite things to do is like the stockings and all like the gag gift stuff that, like you're checking out a TJ Maxx or Marshalls and it's those bins of just stupid stuff and they're way marked down and they'll be like, these stupid magic trick things or
fake poop.
Yeah, not fake poop, but like you're in the ballpark, like, or it'll be like a silly hat, like an elf hat will be in there. Or like socks that are ridiculous that no one would ever wear. And then she watches you open it and then she laughs hysterically and then everybody laughs at you because they know that you're not really going to want to wear this elf hat ever or whatever. And I've asked her about it. I said, look, it's just not, you've been doing it a long time. You've had a good run and it's a lot, I don't want you wasting your money on this stuff. And she was like, oh, I know. I won't do it. And then she does it. So what I'm telling you is that it sounds like your girlfriend is into buying you stuff, but has this trait, which is something that's actually, I think, kind of common, is the person kind of buys the thing that they're more excited about than you are. And so it seems like it's this incredible gesture. I'm buying you this gift, but there's also like a little, it's not selfish. There's an entertainment factor that I think your girlfriend gets out of like the thing that you open and then she's telling you how awesome it is because like deep down she might want the gift. Now I'm sure it's not across the board for everything. She's buying you like a Carhartt jumpsuit, although I don't know. I'd go for one of those right now. I
Totally.
don't know when I would wear it. I loved when I had mine. I loved it. I love that thing. But you get the point. Like, I don't know, Kyle, Cerruti, you guys, any experience with any of this whatsoever where it's a gift giver who actually is more motivated to kind of enjoy the gift as much as you are?
Totally. I'm like dating one right now, and every time she's really into getting me like custom wood stuff, like coasters, and it's always arrives late.
no.
It takes like literally like a month after my birthday, the fucking thing will show up, and it's like Game of Thrones coasters, or like this actually was a really cool Breaking Bad cutting board. I mean, I don't know why it was the theme of the cutting board, but it was like said let's cook on
For
it.
meth, maybe?
He said like let's
Was it
cook
for-
on it. No, it's a cutting board, and I like cutting boards. I ruined the first couple, throw them in the
Big cutting
dishwasher.
board guy.
Didn't know you couldn't do that, but like
Yep. You can't.
but I didn't say anything. Like it's always the gift's always late because it's always from like an Etsy person or something like that, and it's like it's custom made, and then she's like, oh my god, I found this thing, and of course I don't say anything because like my mom, who's a big gift giver, her favorite part, she would rather give a gift than get him, and she loves like that whole thing. So I don't want to ruin that for her, and I kind of like the stuff, so I would say don't say a fucking thing.
Yeah, but the problem is, I think I know some buddies who, and this is a strictly clothing thing, but they'll be dating someone who's trying to change their wardrobe actively, right? So they'll buy them things that they think that they should be wearing, even though that's not what they wear because they don't currently like what they wear. So they're trying to sort of push you in a direction of like, I want to style you in this way. And I've had a couple buddies go through that and be like, I don't wear the clothes that she gets me.
Yeah, that's
So that's kind of
specific.
what I'm thinking here.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not really much of a solution, and I think like anything, when you're buying a house, you're not going to get every single thing you need. If you want a backyard, okay, cool, but you might not have the porch, or the parking situation may not be right, or the neighbors you love the part of the neighborhood, but there's a weird back fence. It's the same thing with who we date and who we marry. I know, like, I'd love a huge porch, but if the property taxes are what they are, that factors in too.
There should just be a running list, though. I've always thought about this. Maybe there's like an app opportunity. Everyone should have like 10 things that they need at any given time, so that whenever someone needs to buy someone something, they could just look at this list and go, "Oh, I'll buy that for them."
Like a wish list, like an Amazon wish list.
Yeah, exactly. Like a registry, but just for a single person.
Right. So instead of like hot girls on Amazon or that have Amazon wish list and weirdo loser guys, so no offense if you listen to this podcast and you do this, but then you go to their wish list and you're like, wow, I love looking at your hot Instagram pictures. Let me now buy you a meat thermometer.
Yep.
You think we should expand this out for just guys?
Yeah, that would be on my
Yeah.
list too, a meat thermometer. Totally. I would never buy that, and
There
I
you
would
go.
love for it to show up in my fucking house. So I'd be cool with cooking pork again.
Great pictures from Milan. Here's Law and Order SVU season 2 on DVD. All right. You know what I did end up doing? And this is where the part, I just started leaving the gifts behind that I didn't want.
That's a dick move.
Yeah. And
Really?
my sisters were like, that is one of the funniest / also meanest things you did. And I go, look, I'm protesting the waste of money on some of these stupid gifts. And I would just like, and then it became a running joke. They're like, Ryan will leave the gift behind if he knows he's not going to use
It's like
it.
Puxatawny
And I
Phil.
was like,
If he sees a shadow,
Yeah.
or if the gift is there, it's 6 more weeks of winter.
wait, did Russillo go back to Vermont? Well, I guess my family doesn't call me Russillo, but they're like, Ryan go back to Vermont? Be like, yep, he did. Like, did he bring his Alf laundry basket back with him? Nope, it's still here. I've looked at it as that way, as like I'm eliminating the goodwill trip, because this way you guys will just be able to like use it. And if you like the
Wait.
Alf,
You
what?
would take the stuff though that you did like and leave
Yeah.
the stuff that's awesome. That's awesome.
It's awful. It isn't awesome. But then it became a thing. Like, so I did it so often for so many years. And look, I don't have my own family, so I was going home for Christmas up until, my early 40s. And I don't go home now, but it was it became like a thing, a tradition where my sisters thought then it became like the funniest thing ever that my sisters were like, I can't wait to see which one he leaves behind is like a statement. Like he's making a statement about this. So, anyway, before everybody thinks I'm a huge jerk about it, I would like to express that I've picked up the Christmas tab for everybody for a bunch of years too. So maybe I'm not as terrible as I sound. Okay, I guess I shared a lot on that one. We'll see how that goes. Okay, we got. You know what? I'm just going to go blind here. You want to do a blind one? So Kyle sent this to me. I like the headline. I haven't. Let's just go for it. All right, bridesmaid who gets too drunk. Hey guys, just turned 30, 5'6", 180, balding. Okay, after reading those stats, you're shocked to find out I'm getting married this fall. Good work. Good writing. Sorry, had to make a joke before starting because this is kind of serious situation, at least to me. One of my fiance's bridesmaid has a habit of getting drunk and then driving home and is constantly putting the rest of us in situations we don't want to be in. Most of the time she's driving home drunk. She's driving an hour away, and she still lives in the college town most of us went to school with as the group is spread out over the state. We'll call her Tiffany. Event 1, after the bridal shower brunch, the girls went out, had several drinks, including shots at some point. Tiffany snuck away from the group, Ubered back to the other bridesmaids' home who'd been hosting the brunch and grabbed her keys. The host's husband walked out in the street and told Tiffany that she could stay at the house as they had extra bedrooms, couches, whatever. She wasn't having any of it and drove off back to her house. 2, Tiffany, my fiance, and another bridesmaid decided to meet up for drinks to catch up in the city I know that I now live in. Girls Ubered back to my place at about 1 a.m., where I was already asleep. At some point in the night, my fiance and the other bridesmaids took Tiffany's keys away from her. When she tried to give back her keys, my fiance and the other bridesmaid locked themselves in the guest bedroom with the keys. Tiffany started screaming and banging on the door. Obviously, this woke me up. I had to get to the other guest room. I tried to get her to go into the other guest room to sleep it off, but she just kept screaming about how she wanted to go home and bang her boyfriend. Okay. I called her boyfriend to try to get him to talk to her, but he was absolutely useless. I took the dog and slept in my truck. The screaming ensued for another 2 hours until the girls just gave up and gave her back her keys. This is a couple of fun nights here. Event 3, we took a couples trip after a day of visiting wineries and breweries. We got back to the cabin we were staying in, and Tiffany decided she wanted more booze. She just took the keys to her boyfriend's truck and just drove off into town. No one knew where she went. Her boyfriend, who at this point had passed out in their room, thought his truck had been stolen. I'm sure the 3 events that I listed aren't the only time she's obviously not. But it's starting to cause real uneasiness in our friend group whenever she's invited. How in the world do I handle this if it were to happen again? Is it better that if the talk comes from her friends instead of me or another one of the guys in our group? What advice can I give my fiance and her group friends to tell Tiffany this isn't the way to act? I know that drinking impairs judgment. I've had my bad nights, but this is becoming more of a habit rather than a poor decision. I really don't want the end result with her getting a DUI, seriously hurting herself, or even worse, another person. All right, so this is really serious. Look, this is what I look. She's obviously has some serious issues with drinking. Okay, but I think everybody. Here's the real problem: is that whatever her thing is when she's blacked out and she's at that far end of everything and super banged up, she doesn't want to throw in an Allman Brothers CD. She wants to get in her car and drive every time. So whatever her programming is that goes on in her head, her move, as you pointed out here, and clearly this is her habit, this is what she's going to do. I had a friend like this, all right? He would drink late night with us, and then he would just hit a point, and then everything would kind of shut down, and then he would be like, okay, I'm going to get in my car and drive home because that's all I want to do. He wanted to get in his car, and he wanted to go sleep in his own bed when there was always a million other options. And that's the thing that's so shitty about people that do this all the time now is it's just like, look, you have all of these other options. There are always all these other options. And it doesn't matter. There's no reasoning with this person, obviously. I mean, for 2 hours did not give up and keep screaming while people are locked in a room. Like this is screwing up everybody else's deal here. So again, the one friend that this goes way back, we were hanging out late one night. You know, I could always walk back to my place, so it wasn't ever an issue. And he got in his car, and look, the sun was coming up. It was kind of like one of those weird, old school back in the day bartending deals, from my 20s. And he drove to a breakfast place on the way back to his house, pulled in. I mean, obviously everybody knew when he sat at the counter, he was a mess. He sat there, ate a full breakfast. And then they were like, wait, are you driving? And they were like, please don't, we'll call you the cab. Please, just get in a cab. Like the diner was trying to help him, but it was such a disaster. They were like, no way. So he got in his car, told them all, because he's just not, you're not thinking straight. You're things are shut down. It's the single-mindedness of being that banged up where you're not even thinking you're doing anything wrong. You're just like, everybody leave me alone. Like, I just want to get behind the wheel. And clearly in this case, like, that's all that's happening. And so then my friend, drove back, made it to his house. And as he pulled in his driveway, guess what? There was like 2 cruisers right behind him because the diner called the cops on him. They should have called the cops on him. He got a DUI, and that was his wake up. And, he figured it out very quickly right after that because everything about him was great. He was a great guy. He was, but he had a thing where he always wanted to drive. So clearly Tiffany has something in her with her wiring that once she's that banged up, all she wants to do is drive. And it's scary as hell. I don't know she's going to listen to any of you. She might need that moment where hopefully if that moment's bad, it's only her that she's hurting. But I would straight up just say, hey, you're not invited to any stuff anymore. You're not. And maybe that'll be enough, but it probably won't because she's younger. And I don't really know what else to add to it other than she's like, if she's banged up, there's no point in ever talking to her. You've already given us evidence she's not going to listen to anybody here. And look, it's a little bit more than her just driving drunk. It seems like, and then I also think it'd point out like the boyfriend part of this. It seems like he's down with whatever this program is. So she's not getting pushback from him either. But the only way you can even put a dent in trying to solve this, which again, my guess would be you're probably not going to, would be when she's sober, be like, hey, just so you know, you're not invited to any stuff anymore. You're just not. And see how she takes it. Unless you like her so much that you don't want to not invite her to stuff, which I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen at the wedding. Something's going to happen. So I don't know. Good luck.
Yeah, the good news about it is this is absolutely something you can talk to her about. You don't have to feel weird about talking to her about it. Like it's not as hard as saying like, hey, your gifts kind of suck, but I love you. It's way easier. Like, this is not all right. It's like, it's definitely anyone's
saying,
qualified
right,
to talk to her, bring it up to her when she's sober. Like, it's not a difficult thing to talk about.
Well, I think what you're saying, just so I'm hearing you, is that there's an awkwardness of saying you don't like presents. There's no awkwardness in saying, hey, you keep making these horrible decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to stop doing
exactly.
this. Right. I just want to make sure people understood what you were saying there. I don't know. I kind of put you in a bad spot by reading this one because it's not like you guys are going to jump in and be like, well, hold on. Like, because there's no
but
other side.
The interesting question would be, does the listener and the guy writing in, is he obligated to say something when it's his, I don't think it's his direct friend, right? Like, he hangs out in
it's
her
his
circle.
wife or the fiance's bridesmaid. Yeah.
So yeah, like, I don't know. In that situation, I'm not sure.
Yeah, not for him.
It's probably going to be a tough scene for him to just, approach this girl who he casually knows and be like, hey, you have a problem, when her other friend should probably be doing that.
Yeah, I don't think it's on the emailer. I think you're right. But clearly, like, she can keep doing this stuff and everybody likes her enough. I think the reference here would be she still lives in the college town that most of us went to school in. So it sounds like these people have all been friends here for quite a while. If he says he just turned 30, so, they're almost a decade out of college and they're still in the mix. And she's a bridesmaid. She's obviously very close to the fiance. So not getting invited to stuff because you're a mess can hurt. It can really hurt. I know for a fact there was somebody that I was hanging out with, and then I was like I got to save the date, and then I never got the invite because the person I was hanging out with, the couple didn't want me to bring. So they were like, well, instead of Russillo bringing this person, because he'll have to, it was very obvious. I was like, wait, I got to save the date, then didn't get the invite. And I just sort of let it go because I was like, whatever. At that point in my life, I was like, I don't really care anyway. And then like I addressed it. I was like, hey, was that because of who I was hanging out with at that time? Like, you just thought like your wife didn't want her there? And he was like, yep. I was like, you guys fucked up by sending the save the date. He's like, well, yeah. He's like, we did. He's like, I'm really sorry about it. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like, I just like to get to the bottom of it, even if I don't really care that much. I just wanted closure on it. So that person, honestly, this isn't even the best example of it because they weren't close enough to it. But if these are your core people and they kind of, all the bridesmaids, on the fiance side, and you're right, Suri, I don't think it's on the emailer here, but just go, hey, look, we love you, but you have this pattern. It's a disaster. We don't want it at our wedding. So you're not coming. Done and done. And she'll probably sit there and maybe she'll yell or she'll say like, Oh, maybe I won't drink. I don't know. Good luck with that one. But that's a shitty situation. I feel like that's not a great one to end the pod on to go into the weekend.
As far as a blind one, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Could have been way worse.
It could have been. Okay, there you go. Life Advice is brought to you by V8. 1 5.5-ounce can of V8 Original is a surprisingly filling snack and only 30 calories. What's even better is its small, convenient size, so it's easy to throw in your bag and have it on the go. Give your body what it really needs: minerals and antioxidant vitamins and no added sugar. Enjoy the weekend. Bill and I will be back after Game 5, and I have Dan Patrick scheduled for next week as well on the podcast. So fire it up. Please subscribe. You won't miss anything. And leave a nice little review for Kyle because he needs the ego boost.